Hey everybody, Ben here from DMC Films and Cinderblock Studios, and it recently occurred to me that I use a lot of brown in my paintings, but I don't actually own a tube of brown. What? So when you ask an artist, what colors do I need when I start painting, a lot of times they're going to give you suggestions like blues and reds, and then some people will suggest burnt umber, which is a sort of brown color. I don't suggest that, and here's a good example of why. So when working either in landscapes or portraits, many artists will be compelled to use something like burnt umber to get that nice sort of deep reddish brown. The problem with that is, depending on what you're painting, you may not necessarily need a reddish brown, maybe you need something that leans a little more yellow, a little more blue. So what exactly do you do for that? One solution is indeed to buy a tube of burnt umber. However, it's kind of a cheat. It just bothers me that anyone would use it at all, when you can just do so many more interesting and complex mixes with your complementary colors. Now I don't have orange or purple specifically on my color palette, so I have to make some of those first. So I'm going to start out working on my purple mix. My red and my green are as they are. This is Hooker's Green Hue and Cadmium Red Hue. I've got some quinacridone magenta and some cad yellow medium. And to make my purple, I actually just use a little of this phthalo blue and mix it into the quinacridone magenta. Makes a really nice purple. Or violet, if you will. Might be a little bluer than what we need. We'll probably add a little red to that. And that should give me about what I need. Next we have our orange. So again, we have that cad red hue and cad yellow medium. Actually, this is a little too close, I might kind of pull this away. Shouldn't need that much red in comparison, because red is a much darker color in comparison to the yellow. You can see my color mixing and color values tutorial for a little more on that. I'm sure I'll put an annotation around here somewhere. So else it'll probably show up in the video post screen. Okay, a lot of people tend to want to make their oranges a little darker than they should too. But that actually looks pretty good. Make it a little. Can always add a little more red if we have to. So there we have our red and green, which we're there to start with. Yellow, purple, and blue and orange. So a lot of times my personal mix for a good brown is going to be a red and green brown, because red and green browns are often a lot more natural, and you can kind of play around with them, maybe a little redder for a more warmer environment, green for cooler if you're kind of leaning towards blues and greens in the piece overall. So we're going to go with red and green. More green. Now we have a nice, a little bit warm, but pretty standard brown. Leans a little bit, leans a little bit red, but I do tend to like that in my browns. I'm going to grab a piece of paper here so you can see the finished color. So this is our red-green mix. Now we move on to our yellow-purple mix. This is going to be a little different. A little bit more of a cool blue. Or a cool brown, rather. Probably add a little more yellow just to try and warm it up a little. That looks pretty good. I would probably use this in something that's leaning towards more of a night scene. Maybe an ocean, something like that. But it does make a very, very similar color. Got a little bit extra yellow over here, but that's alright. And that is sort of leans towards the purple side, while this leans toward more of a reddish color. Finally, we have our blue and orange mix. Shouldn't need quite as much blue here. to really kind of bring that together. And as I suspected, it's a little too green. So, get a little more red in there. I basically just made green. Red in this. This one can be a little trickier if you don't actually have a tube of orange around. This is going to lean much to a greener brown color because of all that yellow. I'm going to bring this one down here. Like so. This one's fairly similar to other mix, probably because of all the red I had to get back in, but as you can see we have the red-green mix, the yellow-purple mix, and the blue and orange mix. All create very interesting and complex browns. And they're colors that you just wouldn't be able to really achieve, at least not quite to the same degree, with a tube of burnt umber. So if you're one of those artists that relies heavily on something light, like burnt sienna, or something dark, like burnt umber, try and you take a complementary color, like red and green, and throw them together and see what kind of brown that you can make. Something hopefully a little more complex, hopefully a little more interesting for your next project. And as always, for more tips, tutorials, and other art videos, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. This has been from DMC Films and Center Block Studios. See you guys next time.